Huge thanks to our sponsors of the video from the hills of Humboldt County, California, our friends at Cannadip CBD, the nation's leading tobacco and nicotine-free dip alternative with CBD. They are so excited to present the game of the year. Cannadip CBD is a fast-acting and innovative way to consume CBD that works and tastes great and won't make you play sneak-a-chew with the wife during football season. The game of the year is a one winner chosen by August 31st. The entry is easy. Head to cannadipscbd.com and click the link, or visit Cannadip's main Instagram and look for the blue check mark. One winner will be chosen, and you can bring a +1. You can head to any regular season NFL game of your choosing, gaining airfare for two with luxury hotel lodging and great seats for the game. That's right, Cannadips is randomly choosing one lucky winner for the fan experience of a lifetime. So head to cannadipscbd.com and enter, or go to the official @Cannadips Instagram and type it all the way out to find the blue check account. Be the winner and enjoy seeing Neil Brady visit New England for a final showdown, or whatever your game of the year is. What is good? What is up? It's Jordan, or Texans Thoughts, and I'm back with another video. Today we're gonna do a Texans training camp preview. And first, I want to apologize for kind of going MIA on y'all for a little bit there. I needed to just take some time to clear my head of all the constant negativity that was surrounding the Texans, just take some time to work on some aspects of my life and focus on some career opportunities. But I'm back and so hyped for the start of the season. So today, like I said, I'm super excited to give you all my training camp preview. I'll talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson, get into some intriguing position battles. So if you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and comment down below your thoughts on training camp. Alright, let's get into it. So let's begin by addressing the MVP caliber quarterback-sized elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. Yeah, so I had a good 10 minutes of talking about the hypothetical scenarios that could happen if Deshaun didn't show up to training camp, but then he did. So I'll go more in depth on my thoughts on that in a live stream tonight, but for now, I'm just gonna say this. Deshaun showing up for camp, it is heavily influenced by, him not being fined $50K per missed day of camp, and also him wanting to show the NFL that, he's committed to playing this year and is in good shape. However, he's in the building, and that was one of the few steps that I think needed to be taken to sort of start this reconciliation process between Deshaun and the Texans. Now, the odds of him playing for the Texans in 2021, I don't think they've increased by too much, not substantially, but they've increased, and goddamn it, I'll take it. Now, on to the rest of the video. Alright, say it with me now, competition. That's been new Texans GM Nick Caserio's mantra since he's been hired, and based on press conferences, you can tell it's trickled its way down through the coaching staff and some players. Now, while I'd argue, competition should always be apparent whether you're projected to be number 1 or number 32 in the power rankings, there will be plenty of intriguing competing to be analyzed for the Texans. So let's take a look at my favorite position battles to watch for this training camp. Starting off with defensive end, and last year most of the edge position snaps were manned by a combination of J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, and Brandon Scarlett. This year provides the potential for a huge overhaul. Shaq Lawson, I think he's deserving of the starting spot on the right side of the defense, and will provide quality run defense plus some intriguing power rushes to get after the quarterback. However, the left side defensive end is truly open to at least 4 names in my opinion. First off, the Texans, they would just be stupid to go the veteran route of Whitney Merciless, and I strongly fear that he's already penciled in here just due to locker room politics, his contract, and kind of what he's done for the Texans in the past. The thing is, we know who Merciless is at this point in his career. and his timeline simply doesn't match that of a rebuilding team. The only reason I'd be happy to see him in the game is for him to build up on his minuscule trade value. Instead, the Texans should be giving snaps and opportunities to the younger guns. Jordan Jenkins' 17 sacks over his past 3 seasons on the Jets warrants more exploration, and he'd be finally rushing on his natural side, the left instead of the right, plus be fully healthy and recovered from the torn labrum that caused his down season in 2020. There's also the homegrown talent Charles Omenihu, who has consistently flashed the ability to get after the quarterback. He's got the size and the length to play defensive end in Lovie Smith's beloved 4-3 defense, but majority of Charles's positive plays have come when rushing from the interior as a defensive tackle. So once the pads come on, I think it'll be very quickly determined where his snaps will be coming from, competing at defensive end or at defensive tackle. There's also sophomore Jonathan Grenard, whom I loved as a prospect out of Florida. I mean, his combination of run defense, instincts, football IQ, technique as a pass rusher, plus him being a better fit as a 4-3 defensive end rather than a 3-4 outside linebacker like he was last year, that all makes me very excited and optimistic about his potential. Now, a dark horse candidate who should never be forgotten about is the GOAT himself, Jacob Martin. A pass rush expert and the fastest defensive lineman on the field at all times. I mean, Martin's flashes are more impressive than every single person that I've mentioned. If Martin can prove his run defense to the new coaching staff, I see no reason why he shouldn't start. And with consistent snaps, he's putting up 6, 7, 8 sacks. Book it. You all know who I'm rooting for to start, but I think the player who could provide the best previous production plus future potential is Jordan Jenkins. I think there's a very good chance that he earns the role at that left defensive end, and if he performs well, him just being 27 and entering his prime, if he performs well, I mean, we could ink him to a longer term deal and really get those best years out of him in his prime. Staying on the defensive side of the ball for a second, and one of the biggest holes in my opinion is the outside cornerback opposite of Bradley Roby. We know Desmond King will lock down the slot, but who will take on the wide receiver 2s on the boundary? Terrence Mitchell was signed from the Browns this offseason and has the best track record of any of his competition. His 13 PBUs last year would have ranked first on the Texans. However, stats don't tell the full story, and digging into his film allowed me to reveal a player who has some serious flaws. He won't give up too many plays, but when he does, they are usually for big gains, as evidenced by a solid 58% completion percentage allowed, but 825 total yards with 14.2 yards per completion and 6 touchdowns allowed as well. As I mentioned with my logic behind not starting Merciless, we know who Terrence Mitchell is at this stage of his career, being 29, and he just doesn't fit our timeline. So let's look elsewhere. John Reid has become a bit of a forgotten man, but he was a solid pick in the 4th round of the 2020 draft. And now often a new regime change will cause a lack of care towards a previous regime's draft class, but I strongly hope that's not the case here. Reid possesses the feistiness I love in cornerbacks. He's physical at the catch points and can play a mixture of zone and man coverage, which is always valuable. Give him a fair shot to show his development and build off his rookie season where he saw limited action. There's one cornerback I really hope doesn't end up as cornerback 2, and that's Vernon Hargreaves III. I mean, no disrespect to Vernon, he's a better cornerback than I'll ever be, obviously, but we've seen enough of him. Whether he's in the slot or an outside cornerback, he struggles. He's just not consistent. And I have never seen a cornerback benefit more from overthrown balls, allowing him to celebrate when he really should have been burnt for allowing so much separation between him and his man. John Reid, Keon Crossan, and even Cornell Armstrong, that should be the order in which the cornerbacks after Roby and King get snaps. It's all about maximizing youth and uncovering some diamonds in the rough. Fingers crossed. One last competition on defense, and it's the actual biggest hole on the entire team, in my opinion, minus the quarterback, of course. But the competition at defensive tackle is dire for numerous reasons. Firstly, because of a lack of talent added at the position, whether it was through trade, free agency, or the draft. Secondly, because the Texans' league worst run defense in 2020. And thirdly, because of the natural importance of the position within Lovie Smith's scheme and desired personnel. I'll work back to number 1 in a minute, but I wanted to stress point number 3 because it's something I've been screaming like a madman all damn offseason. As we've seen Nick Caserio sign more linebackers than we can count, one pattern is easy to see. They're athletic, have a good reputation in coverage, but are undersized and struggle to defeat blocks in the run game. Those are the types of linebackers that Lovie Smith wants to fly around the field and are particularly here to strengthen the pass defense. And don't get me wrong, I love that those are the additions that we've made. However, with that type of archetype of linebacker comes some disadvantages. They're smaller, less physical, and worse run defenders. I mean, gone are the days of seeing Brian Cushing or Benardrick McKinney just run through blockers like a bull and hit stick the hell out of ball carriers. Instead, we see lighter, quicker linebackers who need to be protected by a more physical defensive tackle who can hold double teams and allow our linebackers to run unblocked. Zach Cunningham was a perfect example of this. With DJ Reader to take on blocks, Zach looks like an all-pro. Without him, we got some more issues. There needs to be a sense of balance in terms of pass and run defense, a yin to the yang, or else the Texans will continue to get pounded through the ground. This brings me to the current crop of defensive tackle talent, and while I like our odds at 3-tech defensive tackle, the more athletic defensive tackle who's better at rushing the quarterback, I kind of hate our odds at 1-tech defensive tackle. We're severely lacking the, trash can full of dirt type of defensive tackle who can eat up space, take on double teams, and play fast at the same time. The anchor to the defense is missing. So for as many enticing pieces as you may have at other positions like linebacker, it won't work together if you're lacking that core. Enough of my team building philosophy ranting though, let's look at the candidates available to fill the role that I so desperately desire. First up is Brandon Dunn. He started most of the season at nose tackle in Anthony Weaver's 3-4 defense last year, and a switch from 1-tech defensive tackle in a 4-3 isn't too different and could actually benefit Dunn. He lacked the pure size, girth and length that is required as a true nose tackle, but as a 1-tech, he could fare a bit better. Now, where my areas of concern for him is how his lack of athleticism will be more magnified in this role. However, I do believe he's the best and most proven that we've got. Continuing with the theme of youth from the other positions I mentioned, Ross Blacklock should be the starter at 1-tech defensive tackle. However, the unknown is scary, and Blacklock simply didn't get enough of an opportunity last season to become a known commodity and build on his early rookie season inconsistencies. He lacked the pure play strength to hold up at the point of attack last year, and the game never seemed to slow down for him. Until I see how he's added functional strength to his underwhelming frame, it's just a little bit difficult for me to project him as an effective starter. I want to be optimistic, however, especially about our highest overall pick in the past 2 drafts. However, so if he becomes stronger, if he's picked up the new playbook, and if he can play fast, the start Ross campaign will be out in full force. Now, 2 dark horse candidates to watch out for this 1-tech defensive tackle position are Big Z and Roy Lopez. Both are more stereotypical nose tackle / 1-techs who pride themselves in run defense and that nasty in the trenches. Big Z had some impressive flashes for a small school UDFA last season, so I'm excited to see if his technique can take that necessary jump. As for Lopez, I would love for him to shock the world and outperform his draft stock. He certainly got some cool hair to root for. However, I think his impact will be better seen in a year or 2 from now. Moving over to the offensive side of the ball, and one battle I'll be watching is the wide receiver across from Brandon Cooks. Presumably, he and Randall Cobb should hold down two of the starting positions, but who will join them? The wide receiver depth has been injected with serious quantity. However, the latest addition should reign supreme and bring the best quality of play. Nico Collins, the third-round draft pick in 2021, I think he's got the long-term ceiling and some immediate traits that make him the best option for this role. His blend of height, speed, and catch radius give whoever's at quarterback a fun threat to throw up the ball in the intermediate and deep areas of the field. I think Nico should be given a long leash to work through some of the typical rookie mistakes, as in-game reps prove to be uber valuable for development. In addition, he's the type of wide receiver who excels when he can build a level of chemistry and trust with his quarterback to help forge the connection that is required for his specialty 50-50 balls and turn those into the 80-20 balls that we saw him dominate on in college. Yanking Nico in and out of the rotation to get a more valuable vet in for these kind of meaningless games would be a confidence killer and poor decision. Thus, the remaining players I will mention, they aren't bad per se, but they just don't have the long-term ceiling that Nico provides. I think the guy who will come closest to forcing the coach's hands to playing a vet will be Chris Conley. The former Jaguar has shown he can provide big plays throughout his career. He's entering his prime at 20. He's in his prime at 28, and he has the height at 6'3" and the speed at 4.35 to complement Cooks and Cobb pretty nicely. One of the many veterans on a prove-it deal, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Chris Conley turns heads in preseason play. Apart from Conley, the rest of the wide receiver group includes a bunch of career backups and special teamers and underperformers. That is, except for two young guns, Isaiah Coulter and Kiki QT, who are 22 and 24 respectively. I would love for Coulter to get a chance to finally show what he's got, but he does have sort of a similar skill set to Nico, the height, speed, catch radius type of guy. He was pegged as someone who could be a legitimate steal back in the 2020 draft, so let's see what he's got. Please. As for Kiki, his stand-up is truly an emotional roller coaster. I love the highs, but his lows, man, they just make me want to pull out every damn hair on my head. Nonetheless, while he fits the bill of, young guy with upside, he shouldn't be in contention really to start out wide as wide receiver 2, but rather could push Randall Cobb for the starting role in the slot. I think he deserves one last shot to clean up the mental mistakes and give himself a stage to resurrect his career, whether that's on the Texans in the future or with another team. All right, last position I want to talk about, and this is a bit different because there's multiple positions up for grabs, I believe, on the offensive line. But first off, I want to talk about right tackle. And I swear to God, man, if anyone not named Titus Howard is starting here, I will throw a fit like a 6-year-old child. Titus Howard is a better right tackle than Marcus Cannon. Start him there. Marcus Cannon is better at guard than tackle due to his diminishing athleticism. So start him at guard. It's really a simple formula to figure out the right side of the line. Just don't overthink it, please. The other major position up for grabs is left guard. I've been a Max Sharping fan since his rookie season, which flew under the radar as quite underrated. He was quite good in pass protection back in 2019, but dealt with some off-field stuff in 2020 and was horribly yanked in and out of the rotation. Thanks, Mike Devlin. That type of back and forth is a supreme confidence killer for a majority of young players, so it's no wonder why he had a bit more of an inconsistent sophomore season. However, with what should be some more added strength, I think Max outplays his competition and earns a consistent starting role. The last starting spot to consider is center. However, with how quickly we inked Justin Britt to a deal, I think he's essentially penciled in there. It will be interesting to see if a UDFA like Ryan McCollum out of Texas A&M could shock the coaches and unseat Britt. McCollum has 24 collegiate starts to his name and was a trusted team captain. I think if there's any UDFA who has a chance to make the team, I'm betting with Ryan. All right, so those are the 5 position battles that I wanted to talk about today. As for the sophomore surge or slump section, check out the article I wrote on Texans Unfiltered. Check out everything on the site, podcast, all that good stuff if you want to hear my thoughts on that draft class. And yeah, that's going to do it for the video. A bit different of a style than what y'all are used to, but I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you did, and subscribe for more content. Comment down below what you're looking forward to the most in training camp. Maybe it's a player, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a scheme. Whatever it is, drop it down below in the comment section. All right, take care, everyone. Come back for more, and let's go enjoy this season the best we can.